NASCAR is a unique sport when it comes to its schedule and venues. During a typical season, they will visit 25 plus unique tracks to make up their marathon of a schedule. There have been tracks on the schedule from the very beginning, tracks that have held their first cup races in the last couple of years, tracks that once held races and are now abandoned, world-renowned tracks, and everything in between. Hi, I'm your host Matt, and this is NASCAR Track History, presented by Dogleg Media. In this series, we look to tell the stories of each of those unique tracks. We explore a wide range of topics in respect to the track, when and why it was built, track records, drivers who got their first career wins at the track, memorable moments from you, the fans, and much more. We go in alphabetical order, and today we explore all that Darlington Raceway has to offer. This should be a history-rich episode, so strap in. But with that intro out of the way, let's dive into some more NASCAR track history. Darlington is one of NASCAR's oldest playgrounds, and its history is nothing short of amazing. Let's take a look at some basics before diving in further. Darlington was built in 1950. It has a current grandstand capacity of 47,000 seats. The track is a 1.366 mile oval, and it has seen 54 different winners in its time. Darlington would be the creation of a retired race car driver, Harold Brassington. He drew inspiration after seeing the massive crowd for the 1948 Indianapolis 500. He would buy 70 acres of land from a farmer named Sherman Ramsey, and the track would be born in a cotton and peanut field. And have you ever noticed Darlington's unique egg shape? There's a reason for that. Brassington had to make one corner tighter, narrower, and more steeply banked because he promised Ramsey that the racing wouldn't disturb his minnow pond on the property. He was able to make the other corner as wide and flat as he wanted, and that's an awesome fact that I didn't know until now. Construction would break ground in 1949, and completion of the track would come in 1950. Brassington struck a deal with Bill France Sr. in the summer of 1950 to host a 500-mile race at the track on Labor Day. That is how the crown jewel that is the Southern 500 was born. Harold would be inspired by Indianapolis in more than one way. He would use a 2-week qualifying scheme similar to the Indy 500 for his 500-mile race. He would also have the massive 75-car field line up in 25 rows, 3 wide to start the race. This would be the only paved track on the 1950 Cup Series schedule, and it was known as a super speedway, being the sport's first and original one. Nowadays, super speedway is reserved for tracks over 2 miles in length, but in 1950, this track made the other tracks on the circuit look tiny. Darlington is known as the Lady in Black. I've always called her that, but why does it have that name? In the early years of running the track, the night before the race, the track maintenance crew would cover the entire surface in asphalt sealant, making the surface dark black. Man, I would have loved to seen what this track looked like that. One of the track's defining features is its extremely abrasive racing surface. The NBC broadcast team did a great job during the 2023 Southern 500 showing just how rough this track's surface is. A fuel run may be 75 laps, but you would be insane to run that many on a set of tires. This place chews them up extremely quick. This is a big factor in why it is a fan favorite track. The tire strategy is second to none on the Cup Series schedule and always adds to the excitement. Now let's take a closer look at the different configurations the track has held over the years. And I wish there was a lot to say here, but this track hasn't changed much in terms of configuration. The biggest notable change would be the start-finish line swapping places. From 1950 until 1996, the start-finish line was where the modern-day backstretch would be. They would change this in 1997, and it has stayed that way since. The other major addition would be the permanent lighting. It would be installed in 2004 to help with the high temperatures around Labor Day in South Carolina, even though sometimes that lighting fails to work. See the 2023 Southern 500 for reference. The track doesn't receive full repaves often. The track was repaved in 1995 for the first time, and then again in 2007. They would mill off 3 inches of the asphalt and repave the track entirely. This was said to make a much slicker surface for the competition. In 2021, they repaved Turn 2, but aside from that, they typically take a fix-it-as-it-comes-up approach by patching the track. It definitely gives a certain charm that I'm fond of. And that wraps up the configurations portion. See, I told you that would be quick. Now let's take a look at the drivers to get their first wins at the track Too Tough to Tame. And here's a spoiler alert. This is a tough track to win at. While there have been 54 unique winners in the track's history, there have only been 6 drivers to get their first wins at the track. Let's highlight those mighty individuals to tame the Lady in Black for their first career victories. And the first on this list would be the first winner in Darlington history. Johnny Mance would get his only win in the inaugural Southern 500. And man, this win is impressive and significant for a number of reasons. To start, it was the first 500-mile event in NASCAR history. Mance would play an incredible strategy for this. He knew it would be a marathon, not a sprint, so he would outfit his car with truck tires that did not wear out quickly or blow out. Sure, he sacrificed speed, but while others would have to pit often, Mance stayed on the track. And this difference in speed was significant, as he would be the slowest qualifier in the 75-car field, running nearly 10 miles per hour slower than pole winner Curtis Turner. He would start the race 43rd, as he would qualify on the 9th day of the 15-day time trials. He would end up winning this race by 9 laps because of the tire strategy, and honestly that is a beautiful thing. Tire strategy is still the name of the game over 70 years later. The trophy that the winner of the Southern 500 receives is named after Mance, being the Johnny Mance Trophy. The winners have their name etched into history, kind of like the Stanley Cup. This is such a cool first-time winner story, and it truly embodies Darlington. This would be Mance's only Cup Series victory, and what a victory it was. And then next up on our list is Nelson Stacy. Stacy is a 3-time ARCA Series champion, winning 3 consecutive titles from 1958 to 1960. In 1961, he would get his first Cup Series victory at that year's Southern 500. Stacy has a few notable accolades for his time in NASCAR. He would win at Darlington the very next season in 1962, this time in the Convertible Series. This is notable as it was the final Convertible Series race in NASCAR history. 1962 would also be a great year for Stacy in that he would win the World 600 at Charlotte. This man made 1962 a year to remember. Stacy was a 4-time winner in the Cup Series, with 2 of those being crown jewel events. And 1962 continues its streak of being significant for the sport. Larry Frank would be the next driver to get their first career win at the track, and boy did it come with controversy. Frank would lead 85 laps and ultimately lap the entire field with 2 blown tires at that year's Southern 500. A scoring issue would declare Junior Johnson the winner of the race, but Frank would protest this, and after review, he was declared the winner. This would be Larry's only win in the Cup Series. Not only did he have to fight the competitors on the track, but he had to fight with officials just to claim his prize. Oh, and with me being a numbers guy, we mentioned this in number history, but this win by Frank would be the only win for the number 66. So, thanks for the number Gami, Larry. And then the next driver to get their first Cup Series win at the track Too Tough to Tame would be a 2-time champion of the sport. Terry Labonte would grab win number 1 of 22 at the 1980 Southern 500. This win would come in the Hagen Racing 44 that he would eventually claim his first championship with. It is cool to know that Texas Terry would conquer Darlington for the first of many wins, a true sign of great things to come. And we have a winning name for the next one, as Lake Speed would claim his only Cup Series victory in the 1988 Trans-South 500 at Darlington. A cool story about this win: a major factor in Speed winning this race had to do with his tires. Yup, the track where tires matter more than anywhere else would get Speed his only win, much like Mance. Only this time, Speed wouldn't use truck tires. Instead, he would be the only one in the field to test the Hoosier tires. The rest of the competition felt that the Hoosiers would blister, but Speed took a chance. And man, what a payoff that gamble was. This was a win as an owner-driver, running the 83 for Speed Racing. And then the last driver on our list to get their first win at Darlington is a controversial one for me. In the official rulebooks, Regan Smith would get his first and only Cup Series win at the 2011 Southern 500. And because I want to be as accurate and thorough as possible, I will put him here. But everyone should know that his first career win would actually come 3 years prior at Talladega, but that's a video for another day. This win would also come due to tire strategy, only this time Regan would do so with old tires. A late race caution would see Smith stay out on old tires while the majority of the field came down for 4 fresh Goodyears. Smith would hold off Carl Edwards on his older tires to claim the win in the Southern 500. Smith even said after the race that the win finally put his mind at ease over the 2008 fiasco at Talladega, stating that this win meant so much more than any win at Talladega could have. Way to show him, Regan. They couldn't take that one away. Now let's move on to some track records for the Lady in Black. There are some pretty cool records for Darlington, so why waste time? Let's jump in. First up is the driver with the most wins. And the driver with the most wins at Darlington would be the Silver Fox, David Pearson. Pearson would claim 10 victories at the track, with 3 of those being in the Southern 500. The track would be called Pearson's Playground for a reason, as he thrived on the abrasive Darlington surface. And then next up is the most starts. The driver with the most starts at Darlington shouldn't come as a surprise. It's the king, Richard Petty. He would make 65 starts at the track, and he also holds the record for most top 5s with 25. He would also win the 1967 Southern 500, adding to an incredible list of crown jewel wins. And then we have the most laps completed. And this next record is a wild one. The most laps completed at Darlington belongs to Ricky Rudd. He would make an impressive 17,582 trips around the Lady in Black. For you math nerds, that is 24,000 miles driven around it. For reference, the Earth is 24,900 miles around. He nearly made an entire trip around the Earth just at Darlington. And then finally we have the most laps led. The record for most laps led belongs to another legend, Dale Earnhardt. He would be up front for 2,648 laps. Again, that is 3,600 miles. For reference, from New York to LA is only 2,700 miles. So yeah, that's a lot of time spent up front. Dale would be a 3-time Southern 500 winner also, so it makes sense that he was up front for quite a bit. And now let's take a look at some memorable moments from you, the viewers. And y'all came through again with some incredible moments. Let's highlight some of them here. Divine, Impact, Nichols, NASCAR Steve, Dice, Two Labs, MJS, Saito, Christian, and Duddle all mentioned the 2003 finish between Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven. Not only is this the closest finish in NASCAR history, but it very likely saved the track from being taken off the schedule entirely. Man, this is what NASCAR is all about. And then Gopher, Metro, NASCAR Fan Forever, and The Gamer all mention Ned Jarrett for his incredible 14-lap victory in the 1965 Southern 500. This is still the largest margin of victory in NASCAR history, and I don't think that record will ever be broken. And finally, Two Labs and Dice mentioned the first race back from the COVID lockdown. NASCAR was the first major sporting league to return to action during this shutdown. This was also super significant because it led to Darlington getting its second date back, and for us race fans, that is a big win. Great mentions, y'all. Thanks for always being awesome. And that'll do it for Darlington Raceway. Such a history-rich racetrack. This one was so much fun to do. As always, I'm prone to forgetting drivers or stats. Let me know anything I may have missed for Darlington in the comments section down below. We will be back next time with the history of Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile. This one will be fun. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It helps a ton and I definitely appreciate it. And did you know that 71% of my viewers aren't subscribed, but they are returning viewers? If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? If you haven't seen the rest of the series, the track history playlist is linked below. Be sure to check it out. And I also want to take this time to thank some incredible individuals for their help in making the channel so much better. Every one of y'all are to credit, but the Dogleg team has taken so much time out of their day to help. So thank you Dice, Darksy, and The Gamer for all your hard work. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. Be sure to check the community tab of the channel as well. We do cool little giveaways like autographed merch and other goodies, as well as post updates and polls for the channel. You don't want to miss it. We also have a Discord server. Check out the About section of the channel or the description below for that invite to join us over there for even more fun and learning. We have over 130 members over there, and we have so many good conversations every single day. You don't want to miss this. But that'll do it for us here at Dogleg Media. I'm Matt, your host, and you've been watching NASCAR Track History. I'll see you next time.